Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of Matthew. Today we begin reading at Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 and then following. We're going to look at the miracle where Jesus walks on the water. And this occurs following the feeding of the 5,000. So let's begin reading at verse 22. Now immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat, go on ahead of them. They're crossing the Sea of Galilee, while he dismisses the crowd of those he had just fed. Remember, 5,000 men plus women and children he had miraculously fed with 5 loaves and 2 fish. Now after Jesus dismissed the crowd, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. It was evening. He was there alone, but the boat, already a considerable distance from land, was buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. The disciples going across the Sea of Galilee had run into a thunderstorm, and they were having a difficult time. During the 4th watch of the night, this would be, around 3 in the morning, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. Jesus comes to them walking on the waters. When they saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and they cried out in fear. Jesus said to them, "Take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid." "Lord," Peter replies, "if it's really you, then tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus said, "Come." So Peter got down out of the boat. He walked on the water and he came toward Jesus. But then he saw the wind. He was afraid. He began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You have little faith," he said. "Why did you doubt?" We love this story, do we not? Jesus walking on the water. He comes to the disciples in the midst of a storm. He does that for us all the time, does he not? But when we're in the storms of life, we know Jesus comes to us. And the wonder about this story is he came to them even though he had to walk on the water to do it. They're, of course, terrified. They've never seen anybody, obviously, walking on the water. And even though they've seen Jesus perform miracles, he's done some marvelous things, but walking on the water, yet here he is. He's walking to them on the water. At first they think it's some kind of vision, or maybe they're seeing a ghost. They don't know. Jesus says, "No, it's me. I'm coming. I'm here." And then Peter says, "Lord, let me come to you. If it's really you, let me come to you." Jesus says, "Well, come." And so Peter begins to walk to him. We remember the wonderful book by John Ortberg a few years ago. If you want to walk on the water, you got to get out of the boat. Peter does get out of the boat. We kind of make fun of Peter because as he begins to walk, he takes his eyes off Jesus. He sees the storm begin and begins to sink. Yes, that's true. But don't forget, he was the only one willing to get out of the boat and walk on the water. He's the only one besides Jesus who walked on the water. I know just for a short time, but still, that's pretty remarkable. Great faith. Who begins to sink, of course, he cries out, "Save me, Lord, save me." And Jesus does. He always does. Again, Jesus is showing the power he has. Power of the miraculous, the power of the supernatural. Another demonstration that he is God among us. And notice what happens after he gets to the boat. When they climb into the boat, that is Peter and Jesus, the wind dies down, the storm is over. Those who are in the boat worship him and say, "Truly you are the Son of God." They're beginning to realize they're coming to that place of expressed faith. They already have faith in Jesus, but they're growing in it. This first time they've expressed it this wonderfully. "Truly you are the Son of God." Jesus is moving them more and more to this point where they can express their belief. And he does the same for us. He wants us to realize that he is God among us. Yes, there are times we go through storms in life. Yes, there are times when the winds are high. Yes, there are times when the waves threaten us. Yes, there are times we are afraid. But in the midst of it all, we know Jesus is with us. He comes to us. The miraculous is available because Jesus is miracle. He is the Son of God. Let us be like those disciples, those first disciples. Truly you are the Son of God. When we're with you, all is well. Amen and amen. You have a great day today. I'll see you next time for our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of Matthew.